Hi folks, I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Heineck, physical therapist.
Together we are the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
In our opinion, of course, Bob.
Rheumatoid arthritis. We're going to talk about the 10 best exercises you can do for this. That's kind of a sticky one, isn't it, sometimes, rheumatoid?
Right, yeah. It's I think people don't really understand. They say they got rheumatoid and, maybe it's not, maybe it is a typical degenerative joint disease. But
Right.
rheumatoid affects all the joints in the whole body. It's systemic.
It's systemic. It affects all the joints, and it even can affect you other ways as far as fatigue and
Right.
there's that overall aching.
Right. Where typical osteoarthritis will typically be one or two joints that,
Right.
from mechanical forces that wears out, typically is the reason for it.
So it's a lot more difficult to treat,
Right.
and you got to be a little more careful with it, I would say, Brad.
It presents itself mostly in smaller joints. A lot of times the fingers, and the hands, and the feet, the toes. That's where that presents more.
Which makes it more
pronounced.
difficult, even
Right.
to some extent.
Exactly. There are a few new people.
Oh
out
yeah,
there,
Brad,
Bob.
I noticed
Yeah.
them too. They just wandered in.
I'll go open the door for them, Bob.
Thanks for coming in. If you're new to our channel, please take a second to subscribe to us. We provide videos on how to stay healthy, pain-free, and fit, and we upload every day. Subscription button is here or there. And also, if you haven't yet, please go over to Facebook and like us. Brad and I have a severe complex in that we need to have friends to like us. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Arthritis.
Let's get started.
So
huh,
how
Brad?
prevalent is this rheumatoid arthritis? It's a little less than 1% in the United States. I'm not sure how it is worldwide. I didn't get that research in. That's about 1.3 million Americans have it.
Okay.
Commonly starts between the ages of 30 and 50. Okay, when the
My
symptoms
mother-in-law
first-
has it, and
Sure.
that's about when it started.
Right.
Yeah.
The key thing with it is you need to get after it as far as range of motion, the physical therapy aspect. You have to keep moving and get the joints moving. Do not let them become stagnant and freeze up.
Right.
and-
I think in fairness though, Brad, it can get to the point though where it gets so bad that you don't do any movement anymore. I'm just saying,
Right.
like I'll use the shoulder as an example. You want to keep that thing moving as much as possible, but it's going to get to a point where if it gets so bad that it hurts so much that
Yeah.
you hear the noise every time you move it,
Yeah.
that's about the time where I'm sorry, it's either
Right.
shoulder replacement or
Right. But we're talking when you still can move
Yeah.
it. These are good exercises. The number one thing to do from the research I've read, and I think personal experience, and most therapists would agree, is if you have a pool
Yeah.
or water available, get in the water and get up to the chest or shoulder level and start doing actually a lot of the same exercises that we're going to show. If you can do them in the water, you get more range of motion, the body works better, you got the temperature element
it'd be
involved.
nice if the water's warm,
Right, yeah.
not cold water.
You got non-weight bearing because the water displaces that a little bit. So
Right. It's
that-
not as much weight on the joints. Yeah.
So we're just going to get started with the hands. Okay.
All right.
We talked about the small joints are affected in the hands, and the first thing to do is just get them going. I think a lot of people, they'll have a hard time making a complete fist.
Sure.
If it's flared up. So you're going to work on that complete fist. And if you're going to take the other hand and stretch it a
Give it a
little
little
bit,
stretch.
yep, you're not going to force it all in one time. Repetition is the key. Work it, and it will,
This is
overcome
like a
it.
lot of things. This is a great thing to do, not just, I mean, it's nice to do it the same time every day because usually it becomes a habit then.
Sure.
But this is one you can do throughout the day.
Right,
I mean,
exactly. Yep, you do not have to do it and then forget about
Right.
it. And then the next thing to do, once you get the range of motion going later in the day, you want to keep the strength going in there. Here, let me give him the ball right here. If you get a ball about this size, and it's important that it's going to be squishy.
Sure.
You don't want like a tennis ball would not work.
Right.
It'd be too firm. You want something that you can actually get some range of motion through. So this works really well. One of these balls work really well is too. These kind that have the fluid in
Oh, yeah.
and they squish out, you really get some range of motion. And it depends on the strength of your hand. And you're going to do 10 to 20 reps of these,
Not enough to flare it up.
Right.
Don't fire things up.
Exactly.
So you may have to do, a few less the first time just to
Yep.
gauge what you're able to do.
Your morning
So-
exercises may not be as good as later in the day because you're warmed up more.
So we're moving on to the wrist, Brad?
Yeah, we're going right up. Wrist, we're just going to start out flexion and extension, which would be Bob's doing it that direction, I'm doing it here. You can have your fingers up or you can keep them closed. If your fingers are out, you'll get a little more flexion, more motion. That's just the natural body mechanics of it. Okay, and if you want to put a little passive range of motion on there, you can. In other words, press it. Again, you're not going to press these real hard to make a lot of severe pain. You want to be somewhat gentle with it, and over repetition, get it to move more and more.
I do like this one too, Brad, though.
Oh yeah,
I always
well,
like this
yeah,
one.
we can put that one
Give
in
a little
there.
squeeze.
Yep.
A little
There.
squeeze out like that.
And there, we got
gets a
another
little
one similar
forearm
to
there.
that. And just, I think just some circles
sure.
is good. You know, clockwise, counterclockwise, work that both directions. And then we're going to go to the elbow. And this one's almost like that. Elbows bent like this, palms up, palms down, up, down, up, down. And just do that 10 to 20 times. Then, of course, the elbow. Make sure we get all the way down.
Especially straight.
Exactly. So we're here and back. And you know, you may only get this far to start out with, but just continue to work it. If you want to take the other hand, give it a little stretch and push in if it's being a little stubborn in one direction. Again, don't overdo it, but give it a little stretch and, you know, within your tolerance.
You can get a little pressure on when you're going into bending.
Right. And then shoulders, one of my favorite ones for this one
Is the pulleys.
is the pulleys.
Yeah.
If you got some pulleys at home or if you can purchase some.
You can get a set of pulleys for very inexpensive.
Right, yeah.
They have them online.
Yeah, and if you got someone handy at home, we actually have a video on how to make pulleys for you. You can make them for, you know, just a few dollars, literally.
And you can get a nice pulley.
Right, and these are homemade right here, and these are, this is better than pulleys you can buy. It's got
Yeah.
a brass pulley versus a plastic
Yeah,
one.
these are always cheap when you buy a pulley set online usually.
Yep,
And this is a nice one that you got from the hardware store.
exactly. And then the rope was, it's
Yeah,
better
nothing.
rope. Overall, it's better just to make your own, but you got to have someone that can do it. So I'm doing flexion here, and you're going to need to adjust the pulley or the height of the pulley so that it goes up as high as you're comfortable. The height of the chair, if I get a shorter chair, that'll give me more flexion. But right now, this would be good for me.
Yeah, usually, Brad, what I have them do, and maybe you do the same, I just have them warm up a little bit,
Sure,
and
yep.
then I have them do stretches.
Yeah, then,
Yeah.
yep. And also, you can do
You can go out to the side,
to the
too.
side. Yep, the walls here a little bit, then little abduction.
And you can even turn your thumb like
Yep.
that and go up
Yep.
like that.
That's what's really nice about these homemade ones.
Yeah, they
Yep.
flip real nice.
Yeah, they flip really nice. You can't get that on those ones that I haven't found any anyways. And, you know, I don't know, you could, depending on the person, how flexible they are. If it's a younger person, you can also do this.
Get the external,
There we go.
internal rotation.
Yep. If you can get your hand to do it, and then you just, which is good because when you're trying to get dressed in the morning, you're trying to reach or put a belt on, if your shoulder's too tight to get back here, this will be
It's one of the motions that tends to go away right away.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so it's a good one to work on.
And it's nice with the pulleys because they have so much control.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to overdo it. You just can.
Yeah, you
very
can do it to,
controllable.
again, how you feel with it. You know, you want to use it within your pain guidance. Okay, you're the ball on
Then
the
the
table.
ball. We're not going to jump on the ball and and do things. A lot of times people say, "What do you do with the ball?" And they always think you have to sit on it. Well, it works great for shoulders. All right, now I'm just going to roll and get a little elbow in there too, and I'm going to stretch that shoulder right out like that. And I'm going to get this over here so we can get a better view. Of course, you do it on both shoulders.
And you get your elbow straightened too at the same time.
Exactly.
And a little elbow bending at the same time.
You can work the hand. You can really.
Yep, you could do all of it right
absolutely.
there.
You can be creative with it. You can play catch with someone. Then this.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, you want to get that motion this way, like you're driving a car, which is another great thing. The
A little
ball.
internal, external rotation.
Yeah. And these usually are. You can get them online for $20 or so.
Yeah.
We've got a number of videos on other things you can do with the ball. But as far as this is a wonderful shoulder exercise. I use it on a lot of rehab for shoulders, Bob.
Yep.
All right. That was kind of fun, huh?
Yeah, there we
You wanna
go.
give it a go?
No, that's all right. Let's go on to the next one.
Yeah,
Let's not bore
we got
people.
work to do. Okay. Then you talk about the lower extremities, the hips. Why don't you lay down, Bob?
Okay.
I've been doing everything.
On my back?
On your back, yeah. Let's just do double knees and chest.
Okay. Well, I'd probably start off with single
Yeah.
knee.
I was going to put single knee in there, but we said 10, and that would make 11.
So then we go up to double knee.
Yeah.
And again, stretching the back a little bit, actually putting the knee into flexion and flexing the hip all at the same time.
Right, that's what's nice about
So-
this. You're getting 2 joints at the same time. You might as well throw in some hook rotation.
Sure.
Too. You're there.
Now you're getting some rotation at the hips and you're getting rotation at the back.
Right, exactly.
So this is a good universal one.
Right.
We have so many patients start with this in the morning,
Right.
don't they? They wake up and that's the movement they do.
The ones laying down you can do in your bed just as well. You don't have to get down on the floor. A bed for these, a little softer surface is just fine. Shall we continue on,
Yeah,
Bob?
let's go ankles.
Ankles, yeah. Actually, just laying right there, Bob.
You
can
can,
do
yeah,
these in bed. Just
waking up in the morning.
Yeah, just lay your legs right out flat. Actually, if you go off the edge of the bed, there, then you have a little more range of motion because otherwise your ankles dig in, and this is just a little bit. There you go, circles.
In both ways.
You bet.
Keeping those moving.
Now, a strengthening exercise that'll get the shoulders, the legs, the knees, the hips, and give you some core strength. Now, this one isn't going to work for everyone, but if you're feeling aggressive and you're younger, perhaps, I want you to bring your hands back like this, Bob, and then reach all the way up and touch your toes. Bend your
Get up.
knees, bend your knees,
Oh.
reach between your legs, touch your toes. Get them up.
Oh, like
there.
this.
There you go.
Okay. I thought you were going to have me do a sit-up. I'm like, I don't want to do a sit-up, so this.
Yeah, this is impromptu at its best.
Okay, yeah. I didn't know where he was going with this.
And go all the way, flatten yourself right way out for the real aggressive.
Oh, way out
there
here.
you go. Stretch, and you don't have to do these fast. This is something you would do slow, take your
This
time.
is a good exercise,
Oh,
actually.
absolutely. I thought I'd just throw this one in
I'm
at
kind of
Bob.
surprised you came up with this one,
What?
Brad.
Bob, he's surprised. Huh?
It's aggressive, though. You might have to start off with that way.
Yeah, good. One side, and then you get a little idea.
Because, I mean, you got to have a little ab strength to do this, Brad.
Yeah, you do. Stomach is crucial.
I can feel it right
Yeah,
now.
But if you can start to do it, it's good for you.
Yeah.
Okay, the other thing is just walking, getting out and walking, but make sure you have some decent shoes. They should be, if they're cushioned a little bit so that impact through your ankle, hips, and knees is reduced, and walk as tolerated.
Sometimes they even recommend those rocker bottom ones.
Right.
You remember those? Because it helps promote the proper walking pattern.
Right.
So
Right. I'm not sure if I'm sold on that, but they sell them that way.
I remember having a class on it. They recommended.
They liked it?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
They did.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
For arthritis.
I wasn't sure if that was a marketing thing or if
No,
that
no,
was
it was.
proven.
They had some studies on it. So.
Okay, good. Excellent.
All
All right,
right.
so very good. Good luck with your range of motion, arthritis, and movement.
Yep. Thanks a lot.